Yes. Yes, the new intro is here.
That was awesome.
That was all our producer, not a new producer, but our producer, Albert Jasso, just drummed that one up. So, I mean, he does by request. That is amazing. Thank you so much. I like dancing is important. I'm trying to get
the juices flowing.
I'm trying to get my soul going. So forgive me if I'm moving in my chair. I'm just keeping the rhythm going. But most of you will listen later on Spotify, so you'll just be like, why is he so bouncy? But anyway, Richard Listens on Sports. We are live in studio, special segment today. And, a big theme behind this show today, we're going to talk to you about active leadership in student government. We're going to talk to you about being a psych student in today's market. We're going to talk about what it's like to be a Cowboys fan and suffer for all these years. And but on a serious note, we're going to talk about high school sports, injuries, recovering from it. So we got quite a bit to cover. But part of the theme and the journey of who we meet on our show are people that are coming up and making a difference. Some people want to focus on experts in the world and a lot of what we call out there in a lot of literature today on imposter syndrome, about being afraid to get up, speak in front of people, take your chance, take your swing at the bat until you've made it. Well, for me, this show has been about taking my swings while I'm developing whatever skill or talent or gift I need to have to reach people like our guest today and to reach people at a professional level. And maybe that skill or side hustle you're working on is not to be with major leaguers or NFL players. Maybe it's to reach out to the next high school athlete or youth athlete who may be struggling with some of these same issues today. So with that being said, we are grateful when we have people out there who are working on their degrees and who are willing to throw it on the line and lead other people and make a difference in their community. So today our guest is the Vice President of the Associated Student Government at LACC, Los Angeles City College nearby. This is a former high school player at Dorsey High.
Dorsey Dons. One
of the legendary high schools in Los Angeles, and you'll educate me a little bit, perhaps, a New Yorker on the culture. And we mentioned he's a Cowboys fan, but we won't hold that against him today. We've allowed him in. He's agreed
20-13.
Yes, we all saw it. For those of you seeing this a week later, the Giants, they decided to give him a few easy. It was like a youth soccer game out there. Like, go ahead and give him a goal at the end. So without further ado, my guest today, we welcome Mr. Jemere Calhoun.
Hello. Good to be here.
Thank you, Jemere. So tell us a little bit. What psychology are you studying? What do you interests you about the field?
Well, right now, just general psychology with a focus on psychotherapy. It's something that I firmly believe in. Something that I take part in myself. I believe everyone should have a therapist for some reason or other. Mental health is something that's just like our regular physiological health. We have to take care of it. We have to maintain it. So it's important for the psyche to be maintained, to understand more about yourself and how you can regulate yourself mentally better. So that's my main focus.
And that's an important perspective to maintain. Being in student government, I'm trying to think whether we should go student government or your football playing first. But being in student government, knowing what we know about mental health on college campuses and the amount of pressure and stress that people go through, having someone like yourself who holds that perspective.
Indeed.
Do you find that students are receptive to you or know who you are on campus?
Well, it's a 50-50 thing. Not to toot my own horn, but just being involved in certain things. Before I was in student government, I guess I was fairly known on campus, had a good relationship with many professors and administrators and faculty, and just knew a lot of the students. Just being out there, being part of the psychology club, Forever Young Psychology Club, LACC, shout out. But like I said, it was just something that just happened like that. And when I decided to join the student government, it's a funny story because coming in, I wanted nothing to do with Associated Student Government. I didn't want anything to do with it, and just knowing people and just wanting to make a change, I got involved. And this is my second year involved with it, the beginning of my second year. And in my first year, just to name a couple of things, I stopped a suicide attempt. I helped about 4 or 5 different students who were being bullied in various different ways. And now I can't make it from one side of the campus to the other without being stopped at least 4 or 5 times. Sometimes just a simple, hey, what's up? How you doing? And sometimes it's, hey, I got this issue with financial aid. You know what I'm saying? You know,
it's usually the money that comes first.
Of course, you know, and a lot of times I tell them, hey, you know what? I'm in the same boat right now. I'm waiting for mine. So, you know, it's a wonderful thing. I don't mind it at all. This is a joke that I have. Me and the president, we have a bunk bed on the 3rd floor of the student union because we're just there. We're there. You know, they said, hey, Jemere, you need to make some office hours. I said, why? I live here.
Put a fridge and a PS4 in there. I mean,
hey, I got the fridge and PS4 is coming.
So you mentioned some pretty significant things and big major themes that we talk about going on in college campuses. So bullying and suicide. Now, like you said, not many athletes take on this kind of they're so busy with their school. And what prompted you to launch into taking a political role as well?
It's so funny because even though my title says vice president, I kind of consider myself apolitical. Just for the reason I want to help students. I want to be an advocate for students, and I'm willing to take it on the chin for students. So if I have to do something I don't necessarily like to do, I don't necessarily like to play the politics thing. I'm a genuinely good person. I'm a genuinely cordial person. So I love to talk to people. But, you know, when politics, you got to play certain games. You got to do certain things. You got to make certain sacrifices. And I'm willing to do that for the betterment of students at my college, at any other college, at any other school, down to high school, elementary school, preschool. You know, I have a daughter that's 4 years old, so you know, I want her to have a fair place of academia in her preschool. You know what I mean?
So I see, elementary school board member in your future.
Well, I know, man, that position is too political.
You know what?
Education is political.
You know what, Jemere? I went to my son's high school today to the PTA meeting, and guess how many men were there? Just me. I think they kicked me out. They were like, gave me the fruit plate, and they were like,
yeah,
we're going to put your name on 4 different things. So, but I have some dear friends that are serving on the board of schools, and it is a valuable thing, just like with gender roles, the more involved we're getting in and creating the education and creating the culture and some of that leadership and accountability that you get from sports, creating efficiency,
work ethic,
yeah. I mean, all that is really important for the community and the morale. I mean, as parents, feeling involved in the educational process is important. You don't want to disempower them and just think their whole role is to, cut a check and be done with it. So talk to me a little bit about Dorsey. Now, did you choose to attend Dorsey, or is that your...
I guess here in LA we say it's our home school, but also it was my chosen school because officially I lived on the border of where our home school would be. So it was Adams Boulevard. On one side I guess that would be the south side of Adams, your home school was Dorsey, and on the north side of Adams, your home school was LA High. And my sister went to LA High, and LA High is a fine school. Their football program at that time wasn't that good.
And Dorsey has a reputation.
And Dorsey had the reputation. All my friends went to Dorsey. There's certain, I guess you'll say certain politics of the streets.
All that factors in.
All that factors into the school and the friends that you have, because sometimes it isn't about just your gang affiliation. Sometimes it's just about where you live, who your friends are. And so that factored into the decision.
Now, can that affect your acceptance on the football team? Like not getting on the team, but like how you're received if they know?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. I
don't think white folks like me from the suburbia appreciate that within the sports team culture. I mean, we had kind of like white collar, blue collar fights in practice.
Yeah.
Thought the coach maybe should have stepped in a little bit more, but
Yeah.
But that's interesting. So what the tension is or culture of the locker room is going to be like?
It all depends, but there's definitely a locker room culture to a certain degree. Maybe not as profound as some people in higher ranks would make you believe, but there is a locker room culture, and it's kind of like a frat. It's like a brotherhood, and hate to use certain words, but certain differences are preyed on, and some of those are blue collar versus white collar, academic status, financial status, what side of town you grew up, all those different things. So all of that factors in, and depending on where you are geographically, it just plays out differently. Where I played out geographically, it had a lot to do with somewhat of financial status. If you were coming to school in LA Gears, you're going to get it bad.
Right.
If you came to school with the new pair of Jordans and you regularly had that, hey, you were good to go. And that's just the way things were.
A little bit of street cred, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of street cred, and also, some of it was gang allegiance, gang ties. Some of it was who you knew. Not me personally, but some guys were like, you know what, he's not affiliated with anything, but his brother is Big Tutu. You don't mess with him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So he's good in my book. Certain things like that definitely factored in to being accepted on the team.
So that's a really, I mean, when you talk to students and you have gone through this as a freshman coming into, I mean, how big is Dorsey? How many thousand kids?
I wish I would have researched that before, but it's a good amount. It's a good amount. It has a very wide urbanized area, a lot of what you would say condensed areas.
Right. So
it definitely has a lot of students, and all of our classrooms, as a LA public school, all of our classrooms had at least 30 people.
Right.
So
yes,
it was a good amount of people.
So did you always know you were going to play on the football team there?
Well, as a child, football was it. I mean, just the I hate to say it, the violence and everything like that. That was always my top sport. Basketball was like this graceful, beautiful sport that I couldn't necessarily play well. I guess you'd say maybe I was a bit of a clumsy power type athlete. So definitely basketball wasn't.
You knew your body language.
Oh yeah, definitely. I knew my body, but I always played. I always played basketball. That was just one of those things that you always played.
I once got coached by one of the lineman coaches at Stanford, and I had him on my basketball team. His name was John Ponce, and he used to just walk on the court, Hawaiian dude. And he used to just walk out and put 5 fingers up. Letting them know fully what he intended to do with his time on the court. That's a powerful presence,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, how did your career go at Dorsey? What position did you wind up playing? And
I guess the position I ended up playing the most was wide receiver. Kind of bounced around a little bit. I played a little bit of quarterback. I wasn't that tall. I played a little bit of running back. I wasn't top level fast, but I played wherever they needed me. I played a little bit of linebacker. I really liked it. But they said you're better suited. You're better needed on the offensive end. I said, can I play both? We need you on the offensive end. Just chill. So that's what I played mostly, wide receiver. During that time, we won a couple of CIF South Divisional championships. Had a lot of fun. Played in some CIF tournaments. Got our butts handed to us by teams like, Mater Day and, the big schools. I think we played Folsom one time. And Folsom is like it's a prison city, but it's a real small city. man, we thought these kids were professionals.
Really?
If you ever get a chance to, and they're still a good team. ESPN, if you check out some of the Little League stuff and ESPN, some of the high school championships on ESPN, they still have an awesome football team, and they play their championships.
That's all they focus on all year, huh?
Man, or something. Or they're shipping those guys in. I don't know what's going on.
It's like that in Carson City, Nevada, too. There's a huge prison, and then it's like just fields. It's like, a good perspective in the background. Like,
yeah.
Focus here, not there.
Yeah, exactly. But it was an awesome time. It was an awesome time of my life. It was a time of my life where some of the influences that were around me socially and in my community, where they were always there, but I had less time to deal with them because I was involved in sports. I've always been involved in park sports, flag football, basketball, averaging maybe about 2.3 points a game, but hey, I was tenacious on the defensive end. I was about this height all the way up, all the way, like 15, I was this height. So it was just like, oh, this guy's going to be big. Just petered out 5'9", 5'10". On
Found your role, though.
Yeah.
So from your bio, we're looking at that you love everything about reading, watching sports, and you have found sports to be therapeutic for you.
Yes.
Do you continue to see that even around campus?
Oh, especially on campus. During my tenure with Associated Student Government, we have brought sports back to a school that hasn't had sports since, I believe, the late 90s, in the form of intramural sports. And we had our test run with a soccer league. And I helped with not a lot, but with some of the promotion and just some of the the background stuff, and it was a success. Students were having fun. People had something to cheer about. It was a great thing, and so now that since I've taken over in official capacity in the student government, we have branched that out. We've made it wider. So now over the next 2 semesters, we will be offering football, flag football, and basketball, and then next semester it will be another soccer league.
I think they better parlay this to offering you a paid position on campus. You're going to bring them some revenue from the concession stand.
That's what I'm talking about.
I might have to come in and negotiate a cut to go back to that third floor office.
Yeah.
So now tell me a little bit. I know it's not probably a fun topic for you, but you were injured in the course of your sports career? Yeah,
I had a hairline fracture to my ankle, but any type of ankle injury is like, whoa, chill out, And at that time, Dorsey was a top inner city program, and it's like the Patriots, next man up.
That's but how were they in diagnosing it and treat? Did you?
I mean, all of that was well. All of that went great. Just covering it and treating it, helping out my parents and wraparound services. That was great, but those social ills and those temptations, they were definitely easier to hear when you have downtime.
Right.
Definitely easier to hear.
And is it, do they try and keep you involved in practices and culture, or has it just become time away from the team becomes?
Well, it's, you got to understand that most of these guys who are involved in this program are only being paid as teachers. Some of them are on voluntary ways of doing things. So they can only do so much. They can only take an investment so much, because the time that they're spending with me is time they could be spending from the starting running back, the starting quarterback, the starting receiver. And like I said, those temptations were easier to hear without that main focus being there.
Yeah. So what helped you make it through?
A foundation of being involved in sports, being involved with something that keeps you disciplined. My dad was my coach for my first flag football team. My dad was my coach for my baseball team. My dad was my coach for one of my basketball teams. So just having that foundation kept me from going too far. And sports is something me and my dad still regularly talk about, regularly connect with. Every year, that's our thing. Opening night of the NFL, we're there. He's a lifelong Raiders fan. I'm a Cowboy fan. The whole reason why I'm a Cowboy fan is because we had made a friendly wager when I was about 10, 11 years old. When San Francisco was winning their championship with Steve Young, we had made a friendly wager that the Chargers would beat him. It was a sucker bet, but I was just a kid. San Francisco won, and I just couldn't stand Frisco. Couldn't stand San Francisco from there. So then the next season, Dallas beat them in the NFC Championship.
That's the Terrell Owens game, or
no.
No, T.O. was still on. He was on San Fran then.
Yeah. But that's way early, and I think that's before T.O. Right before T.O. This is when the Dallas had won their
several in a row with Emmitt Smith.
Exactly,
Yeah.
And then they beat them in the NFC game, and I said, you know what? My teams had already left. Rams and Raiders, they were leaving town and things like that. It's like that's my team. Those guys that beat San Francisco, that's my team. So that's been my team, and now it's like my dad's team because he watches it because of me.
Right.
And the Raiders have become somewhat like my team. I just hate when they do dumb things.
My team's not one to talk. The Giants are just struggling. But, yeah, there's been some bizarreness over there in Oakland.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so is there hope that they would come back to L.A. too? Or?
You know what? I actually wish they would have. I think it would have been great for the city. This has to be just this is a Raider town. The Rams, because they were here before, they're starting to become a Ram town, but this is still a Raider town. And I've never been a true Raider fan, but I can say LA is a Raiders town.
Yeah, you feel it would come back with a vengeance.
Yeah, it would have been great.
So real quick, we got a few minutes left. Tell us a little bit more about how people can get a hold of you, what message you have for people going, well, somebody's trying to call in, but not next segment. I said, what message do you have? And
yeah.
You can't. Okay. What message you have for getting involved in student and government, and thoughts that you have for the field of sports psychology in terms of addressing minority communities and injury.
First thing I like to say is if you're attending a school, it doesn't matter what school it is, take a little responsibility on yourself. See where you can volunteer, see where you can help, see what you can do. If you happen to go to a school with a student government, whether it's high school or community college or a four-year university, just check in with them. They have so many great things that are going on, so much information that you can find to really help yourself and really benefit you as a student and anybody else. What I would really like to see within sports psychology is just better ways that we can help with some of the pain reducement and some of the pain management rather than the drugs that are being administered and being used and being abused. A lot of different people come from different backgrounds, and, the whole connection to substance abuse and mental health, and, some people are more prone to abuse certain things than others. A lot of that plays a big part. So I just really would just like to see some breakthroughs in pain management in all genres of sports, and just a bigger commitment within inner city neighborhoods to get kids involved in some safe sports, just to get some time away from what's going on in the streets.
Yeah, and it sounds like some recreational fun sports too. So
Yes.
it's not always about having to be the best and the fastest,
Yes.
but just getting some of that tension out or having something distract you so you're not an idle target around the neighborhood.
Get some kids out more,
Yeah,
away from these cell phones and devices.
we're getting to the fear and the anxiety is pushing more people indoors, and the stress to
Yes.
stay in more. So
Yes.
let them play.
please go out and play.
So let people know, how can they get a hold of you and stay connected to you right now if you're at LACC or interested in learning more about Jemere's story?
You can find me on the second floor of the Student Union, Los Angeles City College, Associated Student Government Office, Vice President. I'm always there. If I'm not there, all you got to do is say my name. They'll find me. You can find me on Facebook. My name is Jemere, Jemere. Very unique. You type that in, you'll find me 99.9% of the time. Twitter, Future Focused. Those two words together, Future Focused. That's what I'm focused on, my future, the future of the world. You can find me there.
Yes, big thinkers, people accomplishing big things, and it's really an inspiration, Jemere. I appreciate you being here because, environment is a big determiner of your mood and your success, and being able to be resilient and draw upon your mentors such as your father and then take that into a leadership role to change the future of people's awareness. Even the thing you brought to my attention today for sports psychology about funding and having somebody who addresses people with injury concerns and how they keep them connected, because we know that substance abuse and depression, isolation is a big part of that, that need. So we are grateful today for having Mr. Jemere Calhoun in office today. We thank you for listening to our special segment. As always,
it's been an honor.
Thank you, Mr. Jemere. Applause, please. Audience, yes. Don't hold it all in at once.
All right.
See, I'm a bigger man, even though my Giants, I think we're doing a little rope-a-dope. We'll wait to see what happens when you come to MetLife. But, there's always room for improvement. We got to have hope as a Giants fan. You can follow us, as always, on Instagram at Richard Listens, Facebook /Richard Listens, and Twitter at Richard Listens. We're getting a theme here. If you would like to see a topic or a different professional in your field on our show, please reach out and recommend to us. In the meantime, we hope you enjoy our segment with professional poker player Michael Levy. And we are grateful again for any students or people out there making a difference right now. There is no accomplishment too small. Come share it with us. Let us be a part of your journey. Thanks again. Take care, everybody.